G'day all, it's Colin from PC TLC and thanks for joining me. In this video we're going to be looking at Ubuntu Mate 1910 and we're just going to have a look around the desktop. I'm not doing the install on this one. I have done an install of Ubuntu proper or GNOME install with the ZFS file system, but if you want to know how to install Ubuntu, they're all the same except for Ubuntu. All the Ubuntu derivatives are all exactly the same install. So I do have plenty of installs of Ubuntu 19.04 if you want to go to my videos page and check them out. So Ubuntu Mate 1910. Got it installed here on the Toshiba laptop. It's got the Mate Optimus, and that seems to be running very well on this laptop. So this laptop is an Optimus laptop and it seems to install very well. So I chose to install the third party, which is the video drivers and so forth, NVIDIA and Wi-Fi drivers and so forth, codecs and all that, and it seems to be running quite well. Now the only thing I've had to do is in the terminal, and if I find that command, this one here, just check that file out there. I created that file and then put that in it. After doing that, I did run that command, reboot, and that gets rid of screen tearing. It does on this Optimus anyway. So besides that, everything went a-okay. So I didn't have any startup to blank screen or anything like that. So that was a big plus. So throughout this video, I'm going to be referencing the Ubuntu Mate 19.10 release notes. And I'm just going to run through those and see, probably not cover them all because sometimes I don't know what some of them are. Probably know most of them. We're just going to have a quick look at that. So since the final beta, we worked on the following: added experimental ZFS, which I've had a look in Ubuntu 19.10. Fixed rendering window controls on HIDPI, fixed irregular icon sizes, fixed Kaja extensions not loading, fixed the Mate Power Manager, fixed Pluma plugins not loading, fixed the crasher in Mate Dock Applet, fixed the GNOME keyring timeout, fixed codec, which is updates in Software Boutique, updated advanced Mate menu, updated the Ubuntu Mate guide, and updated the Ubiquity slideshow, which Ubiquity is the installer that they use. So the big thing here is they no longer use Compiz and Compton. Now, one of the main reasons they were using those was to get to fight some of the screen tearing that was around in Ubuntu Mate. And also, the screen tearing, improved game performance, invisible window borders, and a screen magnifier. So they're the main reasons why, and visually impaired, that's for the visually impaired. So they're the main reasons why they were shipping Compiz and Compton. I believe that some of the Marco supports invisible window borders. Marco has improved Alt-Tab behavior. Marco is now free from screen tearing, has frame performance when gaming is further improved. Using Compton and Compiz with Mate Desktop introduces other bugs and integration issues. So they were the reasons. Now they've fixed all the screen tearing, the Alt-Tab behavior and all that. The only thing that I've got screen tearing with is with the Optimus NVIDIA. And that would be probably problem for a lot of people with Optimus. If you don't have Optimus, then you probably don't have those screen tearing issues. So now they've got the Magnus screen magnifier. So let's have a quick look at that. So it opens up in its own window. So wherever the mouse goes except for this window, it will be zooming in. So if we want to zoom in on the menu up here, we can do so like that. And if we want to look at these, we can do that as well. If you want to zoom it even bigger, we can do that. So it goes up to 5 times. So you got those magnification incrementations there. So that's the Magnus screen zooming. So that seems to work pretty well. Now we can put it on full screen. So that's handy ready. You can probably adjust these windows a bit. There we go. So we can get as much as we can on the screen. There, so there you go. So you really don't want that in your way. So that's very handy application to have. Now in the Ubuntu Mate welcome screen, you have these selections down here. Introduction, so it tells you all about the Ubuntu Mate. Scroll down to learn more. Features, tells you what features it has. Getting started, doing updates, installing drivers, although that's done mainly on install. System specifications, tells you about your computer. Boot mode, so it's got some valuable information there. Getting started, let's go back to that. Updates and extras, so it'll check for updates. Codecs I've already installed. Blu-ray and DVD playback support, I haven't done that yet. Additional screensavers, additional themes, and additional community wallpapers, so you can get those as well. So you can install those. Got the install button there. That's the getting started. You've got the community, the chat room, software. Now this is one nice thing about Ubuntu Mate is their software boutique, and you've got the different categories up the top here. So you've got accessories, education, games, graphics, internet, office, programming, sound and video, system tools, universal access, servers, more software and fixes. So more software will give you an option to install Synaptic Package Manager or the GNOME, looks like the GNOME software. So one of the advantages of this, if you're using this in the standard screen size here, you'll probably find that if we go to sound and video, there's a lot in that. You'll find that, you know, you've got it scrolls down quite a fair bit with that, but if you maximize the screen, you can see a lot more, and it's a lot easier and quicker to go through. So as you can see, they've got some curated apps here, and probably cherry pick some of the most popular applications that's available in Linux, and I'd have to say that they've sort of worked out what the most popular ones are. And you can go through that and install, and it's a one-click install, and probably put in your password. So this software boutique is very nice for new users. So that's the software boutique. Now you can click install on several items, and then you can go over to well, actually, I'm not sure. It'll tell you up here, bulk queue. So it makes a queue for you. And you've got some preferences up here as well for that. Boutique selection, hide proprietary applications, enable the bulk queue, or you don't have to enable it. Show software sources and manage repositories. They're the advanced options. So if we was to pick Blender, for example, and click that, and let's see if I can find another one to install. Shotwell's already installed. If it's installed, it's got a tick on it, so you know it's installed. And GIMP, let's do that one. And as you'll see, you've got a queue. You go to the queue and then you apply changes, and that will install everything that you've selected. And that's how that works. Now, the other things you've got in the Ubuntu Mate welcome screen is get involved, shop, donate, browser selection. So they've got a selection of browsers of your choice, which I like. I like to have choice in an operating system. It's always good. And also you've got this desktop layout. So if we maximize the screen on that one, you've got these different layouts which you can choose. So they've got a picture of all the layouts. Now, I would like to think that this is only new, I think, in 1910. So I would like to think that this is a little bit of a snapshot of what's to come in the Mate Tweak. So if we go to Control Center and go to Mate Tweak and go to panel, you can change your different layouts here, which is these ones here. But this is just within the welcome screen, and it gives you a very, very detailed screenshot of what your selection will look like. Got all the different selections there. So let's go through those. We won't go through them in the welcome screen. So that's the welcome screen. So let's have a look at Marte Tweak. We start off with familiar. So we'll start from the top and we'll work our way down. So we've got contemporary. So what does contemporary give us? It gives us the brisk menu with a global menu. So it gives us a global menu. So anything you open, whatever's focused, will have their menu up here. So if we open something else, let's try LibreOffice Calc. So now the menu for Calc is up here because Calc is focused. So if we go back to Kaja, now Kaja is focused. So that's a global menu. So you'll always find your menu up here. You've got your window buttons down the bottom here, workspaces, rubbish bin, show desktop, and you've got your, what's that one about? That's the indicator applet. Yep. So now we've got Cupertino. Cupertino gives you a very similar layout to Elementary, but it's using the full screen menu there, which is pretty handy. You can just type to find your applications. Click the clear screen there. You can just click the menu again to hide it, and you've got your open applications here and the plank dock down the bottom. And do we have a global menu? Yes, we do. Still got the global menu there as well. So that is the Cupertino. Then we have, we looked at the familiar. That was the default desktop layout upon install. So we go to Mutiny. Mutiny gives you a Unity type layout. And if we have a look, the buttons are on the left, not the right, to go with the Unity, because everything's worked from this corner here. Indicator applet, of course. Global menu as well. So let's have a look at, global menu as well. And in the global menu, you've got, we've got a close button here. We've also got a close button up here. A minimize and maximize, or you can do that from the dock and close it from there, or you can close it from the top left because they've got the little buttons in the left here. Then we've got the netbook. Netbook is for the smaller little laptops. That's why everything's sort of minimized here. So you have open windows up top here, like so. Another open window there, but we do not have global menus. The buttons are on the right. You got your indicator applets up here, and the menu is the brisk menu. And then we've got the Pantheon, which again is similar to the Cupertino, but this uses the brisk menu, not the full screen menu. And we have the buttons on the right, but we don't have a global menu. Got the menus within the windows here. And if we go to Office and open LibreOffice, you'll find that your menus are within here. Then we have the Redmond style, which is Windows, Redmond for Windows. And we have this menu here, which is the traditional Linux Mint menu, which was in the original GNOME 2 days, and Linux Mint was using this menu here. You can click on favorites or all applications, and you've got your favorites there. So I don't know how configurable that menu is, if at all. I'm not quite sure. Preferences, menu preferences. Yep, we've got plenty of options there, so you can probably choose to open it up. Always start with favorites pane because it doesn't do that at the moment. So there's plenty of preferences there for that menu there. We have a volume mount shortcut here, indicator applet here, so always the same. Show desktop and a couple of shortcuts down the bottom here, and your open Windows buttons here. And the last one we have is traditional. And traditional uses the two panels, show desktop down the bottom, rubbish bin, workspaces, indicator applet, and you got your traditional menu there, which is the simple menu. So that's the traditional GNOME type menu back in the GNOME 2 days. And we have buttons on the right as well. No global menus there, which there's no surprises there. So let's put that back onto familiar. So that's the desktop layouts. Just a quick run through there. So they've got some new key bindings there. You'll find that they're using the super key a lot with some of the key bindings, which is very handy. So super up will maximize window, super down restores the window. So super down, super up, super left, super key right, maximize up. Then you've got some other shortcuts here. Panel and indicator improvements. So they resolve some frequent crashes in the brisk menu. The Mate panel has now had some improvements made as well. So we don't get this oversized icons. This is before, which is meant to be this one here. As you can see, it's very large, and that's all been fixed. You've got a notification, so you can enable do not disturb. So which would be this one here. Settings, so let's go to settings, and you've got the enable do not disturb there. Evolution replaces Thunderbird, so I haven't tried that out yet. I normally use Thunderbird. They've got the GNOME MPV, which replaces VLC. So what they're saying is they've switched from VLC to GNOME MPV, soon to be renamed Celluloid for the default media player. The reasons for switching to GNOME MPV are similar to swapping out Thunderbird for Evolution, better desktop integration. So they're saying that GNOME MPV doesn't offer the extensive array of preferences and options that VLC does. However, GNOME MPV is an excellent media player with the same broad media format support that VLC offers. So that's pretty good anyway. I always use GNOME MPV. I find that one a very good player. Some theme-related bugs have been fixed. So Marte Tweak now preserves user preferences when switching between custom layouts. Yeah, that was a problem, but I haven't experienced any of those problems since the last time. So I've sort of quickly skimmed through the Ubuntu Mate 19.10 release notes. And I can say that running this on NVIDIA Optimus, everything seems to be running pretty smoothly. So there's no problems there. So what we're going to quickly do is have a look at some theming on Ubuntu Mate. So let's do that. Control Center, Appearance. Now in Ubuntu Mate, if you want a theme, you can go to background here, you can go to fonts or your interface. But theming is the main one, and you have to go to customize, and you can customize all these ones here. So what I've done I've created .icons and .themes. I don't know if I created them or they were there already. Some distros, they're there already. Some distros, they are not. So you can create these yourself. They are hidden folders. And anything with a dot is hidden. Files or folders. So in the themes, I've downloaded some themes, tried a few. Just tried the ones that I liked. I've got a lot there, but I haven't used them all. So I've only got a few that I've selected, and also a couple of different icons as well, which is the papyrus and the dharma, which is what I've been trying out. So what I do is I tend to try out the themes that I like on all the distros just to see how they come up and how they look and how they're presented. So what I've done is, let's go to Customize and let's have a look at Window Controls. Now what I've done there is I've downloaded an X-Arc. So this X-Arc shadow is not too bad. I've gone for the darker because I like it to be a little bit white but have the darkness on the side there. So that comes up quite nice. Now for the window border, if you watch my videos, you will know that I like to use the Quagga theme, but in this case, I don't know why. Well, actually it's showing up now, but before it wasn't working. It doesn't show properly here. That's strange because it wasn't working for me before. And the icons, we can try Dharma. And once you do that, you can actually, once you've selected all that, you can save it as. But what you can do also is you can change your background if you wish. Close that. And you can also save the background with it. So let's save as, let's save it as Karl's Marte. We'll put a dash there. I don't know whether you need to have spaces or not. I don't know. Save background image and save the notification theme, I think. I'm not sure about that one. You can give it a description if you want and save that. Now, I've already saved one. That's another one I've saved. So that theme's coming up all right, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't before. I'm pretty sure it may change after a reboot. I'm not quite sure. I don't know if there's an issue with the Quagga theme. It is a GTK3 theme, so I'm not sure whether there's any issues with GTK3. It shouldn't be on Ubuntu Mate because I'm pretty sure it supports GTK3. So as you can see, that's changed. Now what we can do now is go back to the Control Center and Appearance and select Ubuntu Mate, which is the standard theme. Change desktop background back to that. So now we're back to normal. So if we wanted to try again my custom theme, we can just now select this one here. Close that. And there we have my custom theme. Looking pretty good. Although the desktop background didn't come up, did it? No, it did not. No problem at all. We can change the background. But I thought I included that. Maybe I didn't. Not sure. So what we can do now, with the custom layouts, back to Control Center, we go to Marte Tweak. So what I noticed with a lot of these is it's very hard to find a layout with a panel on the bottom with the brisk menu. That's to say you want a panel on the bottom with the brisk menu. How do we go about that? Well, first of all, we need to find a panel that has, I think Redmond would probably be our best bet. It has one panel down the bottom, Redmond does, but it also has the Marte menu, or the traditional Mint menu, I must say. What we can do there is uncheck, right click on the menu, uncheck lock to panel, right click again and choose to remove menu. Now what we do is add the panel, add the panel, and we add brisk menu. Add that and close. Now what we do now is we have to unlock all of these, otherwise we cannot go past it. So let's right click this menu here, click on move and move it over to the far left hand side. Click the left button, it'll stay there. Right click and yep, left click, or you can right click that, both. Right click or left click, it doesn't matter. Lock the panel, and then you can lock all these back in place. Now, I wouldn't mind a bit of spacing here. Now, I think the trap you can get into, or you can fall into with the Marte desktop, is that sometimes I try to treat it like XFCE, and that doesn't sometimes work. If we go to properties, if we go to add to panel, I was looking for a spacer. Now they do have a spacer. No, they don't. What's it called in here? Separator they've got. Separator. So if we add a separator, all that does, move that just puts a separator between things. I don't want that there. Let's remove the separator. There's no spacer. So what you can do is, now that these are all unlocked, I'm right clicking that. You can right click and move, and you can actually move these things. Move. Well, actually, let's move the window button first. Move that over. Oh, that's gone there. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. So if we move that to the right a little bit, left click, and that'll stop that from moving anymore. Move this one. Oops, very sensitive. Right click, left click, move. Very sensitive indeed. And right click and move. Now I've just increased the space of those. Lock the panel, lock the panel, lock the panel. And this one here, lock the panel. So it can't go all over the place. Let's close that. And let's right click, go to properties, and you can increase the size of your panel. Let's make it say 40. You can change the background, or you can use system theme. I'm just going to use system theme. And there we have a panel there of our own. So what we can do now is we go to the Marte Tweak. So type tweak, TWE. There's the Marte Tweak. You can go to control center and then Marte Tweak, or you can just search for Marte Tweak in the menu. Go to panel, and we can go save as. We enter the name. We call that Coles Redmond. No, Coles Marte as well. We'll call it Coles Marte. We'll call them all Coles Marte, all lowercase, so I know which one it is. Now what we can do is we can go back to familiar, which was the default familiar desktop out of the box. Change desktop background back to that one. We can also go to Control Center, Appearance, check Ambient Marte, and that's that done there. So we are back to standard out of the box right now. Made a few tweaks. I'm not sure whether the background is going to work or not. Seems to be a little bit hit and miss with that one. So let's go to the appearance. Let's hit Coles Marte, that one there. No, it hasn't changed the background, has it? Maybe a reboot it may do that. I'm not 100% sure. And we go to Marte Tweak, Panel, Coles Marte. And that's done deal. And if we have to change our background, no biggie. It's easy to do. And there we have our custom theme and layout. So that is customizing the Marte desktop. So I'm missing an icon here. I don't know what's happened to that. So let's close that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out and log back in and make those changes again and see whether it works with the log out. Because I have been changing, in all fairness to Ubuntu Mate, I have been quickly changing layouts. I am putting a lot of demand on the changes, so that it can probably sort of mess it up a bit if you sort of change them really fast like that. So it's probably warranted to have a log out or a reboot just to see whether that sorts everything out. So let's do that and I'll be back. Okay, so I have done a reboot. So let's just go run through some of that again, and let's put everything back onto the out-of-the-box experience. So now we're back to out-of-the-box, the default standard desktop layout and theme. And what we'll do is we'll try and changing everything again and see what happens. So let's go for the panel first. Go for my Coles Marte and appearance, Coles Marte here. Yeah, so desktop background didn't change, did it? I did save it, but it didn't change. So I'm not quite sure why that is, but there we go. Now, just one more thing with the Marte desktop. So adding launcher to the panel, you can right click the panel, select add to panel, go for application launcher and add. And then it gives you these category listings here that you can choose from. So that's pretty much anything within this menu will be the same as what's showing here. So for example, if you wanted to, let's see, what would I want to add as a launcher? Let's go to Office and do LibreOffice Calc and add that. So now we have Calc as a launcher. So if I, let's see, right click this Windows button here and unlock it, right click this one and move, we should be able to go to the other side of that. Don't know why it squeezes that all up like that. It must be just the way it works. And put that there. And we need to unlock this one as well. Looks like my Firefox has gone missing from the panel. So I shall put that back as well. So Firefox, add that. Right click, left click, move. Go to there. It's a little bit of a strange behavior when you right click and you move. It sort of tends to flick to the right sometimes. So there we go. Very nice spacing there. So let's lock everything that's not locked. Unlock that again. And that is our applications added down in the panel there. And we should still have our super key opening the menu. Yes, we do. Very good. X-present support is properly fixed, which means that screen tearing is now a thing of the past. And invisible window corners are finally here. Invisible window corners mean that windows can be easily resized without having to precisely grab the window corners. I was going to open File Browser, but it's on the desktop. It would be handy to have it on the panel, wouldn't it, I suppose? Where would it be? Accessories, System Tools. I would never have thought that the Kaja file browser would be in System Tools. Here, there it is. Add that. Let's unlock that again. Right click that. Left click move. That there. Locked panel and locked panel. So let's just check that out. Invisible window corners, there we go. Very easy to grab hold of anything very quickly indeed. So that is I like that, very handy. So just getting back to the key bindings, I've done a couple, which was the maximize windows, restore windows, title window right, and I think that should be tile window right, which is super and the right arrow, super and the right arrow, super and the left arrow, super and the up arrow maximizes. If you want it to go to upper right corner, then you hit the alt and the super, which are both next to each other, and the right. The upper left is with the alt, super and left. And if you want to go to the bottom, you've got to use shift, super and alt, left or right. So that's 1, 2, 3 buttons plus 4 buttons altogether, left and right. There you go. And just hold the super key, up arrow, maximize again. Very handy shortcut keys those. Shade window, Control, Alt and S. I'm not quite sure what that is. Control, Alt and S. What does that do? Oh, okay, just drops it down. Cycle external display, super P, lock screen, super L, screenshot a rectangle, shift print screen, open file manager, super E. Oh, there we go, that's an easy one. I should have read that before, shouldn't I? Open terminal, super T. There's your terminal. Open search, super S. Oh, yeah, you can search files, yep. open Task Manager, Control Shift Escape, Control Shift and Escape. Not working, I don't know why. Open System Information, Super and Pause. Don't even know if I've got a pause button. Oh yes I do, Super and Pause, but pause is, I would have to hit the function key with super, I believe. There we go. So if you have pause written in the not so bright text on your keyboard, then you have to hit the function key for that to work. So if I close that and I hit super pause, I get nothing. But if I hit function super pause, then I get the information. So maybe that was the problem with the task manager. Control Shift and Escape, but escape is escape is a normal key on its own. It's not working. So that was the key bindings. Just one more thing that I did see some discussions going on between a couple of friends of mine on Telegram, which was Zeb and Vince, Sleepy Eyes Vince. Now they were talking about the calendar and how to adjust the calendar in this. Now at the moment, and Sleepy Eyes Vince came up with a really good point, that this indicator applet here has the calendar integrated within it. Now the indicator applet that's on here, let's check this out, right click and about. That is the indicator applet complete. He gave Zeb an idea on how to get some customization with the calendar, which is to unlock that from the panel, right click and remove from the panel, and then add indicator applet, just the normal indicator applet, not the complete one. So we add the normal indicator applet, right click that, left click and move it back over here. We're going to have to unlock this one to move that beyond it. And then what you can do is add a clock. Add the clock, right click, move and put it to the end, left click, and then we can lock all these to the panel so they don't mess up for us. And maybe I should have saved the panel with that, but I could probably do that again. And then we can left click and you've got a full clock there. You can also right click and go to preferences for the clock, and you can change preferences for the clock there, and it's also got weather and all other selections there as well. So that is, if you're looking at a different preferences for the clock, that's the best way to do it. I do like the way that they had the clock with add event and all that. I don't know, I'm not sure which clock that is. It's only within the indicator applet complete, I believe. Have we got a calendar here? Can we do that? Marte calculator, no calendar? No. Yeah, the other one had add event. Let's just check that out. Add to panel, indicator applet complete. Let's just add that, and let's just check this out. Add event. What's that? Calendar, oh, that's evolution. Okay, so the evolution is integrated within that calendar, but not this one here. So just keep that in mind. Nice little tip there. Thank you, Vince. Vince from the other side of my country in Australia down under, in the eastern side. Nice little tip. And it sounds like it worked pretty well for Zeb as well. He was a happy chappy. That was a look around Ubuntu Mate 1910 desktop. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it interesting and informative. And thanks for watching.